We're casting our eyes 23 years back to 2001 and we're looking at A Knight's Tale. And yes, if you're thinking, is that Robert Baratheon, then you've got your money on the right horse. Welcome back to Fog Entertainment. And today we're looking at A Knight's Tale. And of course, starring Heath Ledger, Shannon Sossamon, Paul Bettany, Rufus Sewell, Mark Addy, and Alan Tudyk. So, you know what? Never even heard of this movie before. Watched it the other day. It's actually rated PG, which I think is quite incredible. But considering like what you actually see in the movie, I think a PG rating is absolutely justified. Bear in mind it is 2001. We were a bit more lenient back in the day, weren't we? Back in 2001. But as for a movie, I think this one was pretty good. Action adventure. You know, around this time, it kind of does remind me of like a Lord of the Rings sort of Harry Potter film. I'm not obviously it's set in like real life. It's not like, you know, what's the word, fantasy. But I really enjoyed it. It's a weird timeline. I think it's like what, the 1800s, I would say. I mean, to read the description of the movie, we've got medieval peasant William Thatcher wishes to better his social position and attain glory after his master dies. Adopting a false identity, he successfully participates in jousts, shocking many knights. So, budget was 65 million. It was based on The Knight's Tale by Geoffrey Cocker. Director was Brian Hedgeland, and it was distributed by Columbia Pictures, Sony Pictures, and more. So the movie pretty much throws you straight into the deep end straight away with the master dying, and he takes his armor, and essentially he's saying he's not a knight. And obviously back in these days, like you could just lie about your identity, like your papers, they don't really exist anywhere, if we're being brutally honest about it. And the two guys that he's with, Roland and Watt, essentially back him up and say, yeah, he's a knight. If you've got a problem with it, then fight with it. Then we've got the king, the king to be. We're introduced to Covel, Prince of Wales, and he's the king to be. But no one wants to fight him in the joust. So he automatically, Heath Ledger's character, William, gets respect there for him because he's the only guy that decides to fight him in the joust, which will come out to help him later. So after eventually training himself up, he turns in to be this great knight. But he goes through all these tournaments. We've got Rufus Sewell playing Count Adamir. That's who he wants to beat. But on the way, we meet Paul Bettany's character, Jeffrey. Jeffrey. This guy was naked. It was almost like a hallucination when we seen this guy. So, oh, actually, this is set in the 14th century. Fuck, the 14th century. Just there's me saying the 1800s. I was a wee bit off with that, guys, wasn't I? But essentially, yeah, they befriend him, they pay off his debts after he wins in the tournament to sell the gold. The guy was going to be barred due to his gambling addiction, which is all too real in the 21st century. Gambling's existing for years, but William Thatcher begins to win the heart of Jocelyn, played by Shannon Sossamon. But obviously, you know what's going to happen. She's going to find out that he's not a true knight. But he returns. He returns home. We see, like in flashbacks, his dad giving him up to give him a better life and a better chance at life. And obviously, it worked. So he sees his dad, but his dad is turned blind, and he's like, I am a squire on behalf of, William Thatcher, yada yada yada." And he gives him the whole lowdown. He's like, "Your son is doing well," but his father knew it was him. He's like, "Your stepson, watch your feet." And then he hugs him. It was a really sad scene, touching scene here between Heath Ledger's character, William Thatcher, and his father. They hug, they kind of like talk, and then he's like, "Oh, I want to meet this woman that you're so deeply in love with." But obviously, he kind of changes the subject because there's no happening. The meet can't happen because Heath Ledger's character is a jobber in the eyes of Jocelyn. And of course, she ends up finding out. Count Adamir found out by following him there. I thought Adamir was actually going to kill his father. Turns out he didn't do that, so he's not as pish as he could be. Then we get the showdown, the final showdown between Count. Well, actually, before that, we do have the whole Prince of Wales, the future king, saving William Thatcher's life. He knights him, so it's official. He's a knight. The king. That wee conversation he had with him in the fight, the joust earlier on in the movie, definitely helped him here. But then we get the final showdown between William and Count Adamir, and William, of course, wins. It's a happy ending. He gets the woman. His daddy sees him in action, even though he couldn't see. He was giving a live commentary. Just a pretty fun show. Just a pretty fun movie. I'm actually going to give it 7 out of 10. I am. I think maybe a 7 could be considered too high. IMDb's gave it a 7. Amazon Prime's gave it a 4.7 out of 5. Obviously, that's just people rating it. Well, Rotten Tomatoes is 59%. But for me, really enjoyed this movie, guys. I'm going to get a 7 out of 10. That is it for A Knight's Tale. But until next time, leave your thoughts down below. And peace.